You want to control everything, then stay silent, because silence is the sharpest weapon a man can possess. It is the one thing that gives you leverage over others. It keeps your enemies uncertain. It keeps your allies guessing. It makes you unreadable and unshakable. The moment you open your mouth, you give away information. The moment you explain yourself, you reveal your hand. But when you remain quiet, when you allow the world to underestimate you, when you let them think you are harmless, you are already in control. The greatest power is not in shouting commands or forcing others to obey. The greatest power is in the ability to influence without words, to lead without recognition, to manipulate without anyone realizing what you are doing. Most people talk too much. They want to be heard. They want recognition. They want validation. And in their endless need for attention, they expose themselves completely. They make it easy to predict their actions. They make it easy to exploit their weaknesses. But those who stay silent, who observe patiently, who speak only when necessary, they are the ones who hold the strings. They are the ones who dictate outcomes without anyone realizing it. Silence is control, because silence forces others to reveal themselves, while you remain a mystery. Think about it. In every situation, those who cannot control their tongue are slaves to their emotions. They get angry and shout, they get desperate and beg, they get arrogant and boast, and in every one of those reactions they lose power. But the one who watches silently, the one who doesn't break character, the one who remains calm while chaos erupts around him, he is untouchable. He becomes the center of gravity that others unknowingly revolve around. Control begins with patience. You cannot control others if you cannot control yourself. You cannot make the world bend if you break at every obstacle. You cannot manipulate outcomes if you are too busy reacting to them. That is why silence matters. It teaches you to pause, to analyze, to detach before responding. It gives you time to calculate, and calculation is what separates the strong from the weak. The average man reacts, the powerful man decides, and the one who decides owns the battlefield. Silence makes you unpredictable. Your opponent doesn't know what you're thinking. They don't know your limits. They don't know your next move. And because of that, they hesitate. They overthink. They waste energy trying to guess your intentions. And in that hesitation, you find openings. You find weaknesses. You find ways to dismantle them piece by piece without them even realizing it. Silence breeds fear, because the unknown is always more terrifying than the known. But silence is not weakness. Do not mistake it for passivity. Silence is not about hiding. It is about conserving. It is about storing your energy like a blade kept in its sheath. It is about letting others waste their strength while you sharpen yours. And when the time comes, when the moment demands it, you strike with precision while they are unprepared. The strongest warrior is not the one who swings his sword wildly. The strongest warrior is the one who waits until the enemy exposes their neck and then delivers a single decisive blow. The reason most people never gain control over anything is because they are too loud. They reveal their plans before they even begin. They let their enemies prepare for them. They give away their ambitions to anyone who will listen. They think talking about power makes them powerful. But real power is invisible. Real control leaves no traces. Real authority is not announced. It is simply felt. Ask yourself, do you want to be the one begging for attention? Or do you want to be the one who commands respect without ever needing to ask for it? Do you want to be another voice lost in the crowd? Or do you want to be the silent figure who terrifies the crowd without speaking a word? Because in silence you cultivate an aura. In silence you become untouchable. People fear what they cannot read. People fear what they cannot predict. And people fear most what they cannot control. Think of the most dangerous men in history. They were not the loudest. They were not the ones constantly seeking validation. They were not explaining themselves to the world. They moved in silence. They executed in silence. And only when the result was undeniable did the world realize what had happened. By then it was too late. That is the essence of control. By the time they recognize your influence, you are already too deeply rooted to be removed. But silence is difficult for the weak. Because silence demands discipline. Silence demands that you choke your ego. Silence demands that you resist the temptation to prove yourself. That is why most people will never master it. They are too attached to their emotions, too desperate to show the world what they can do, too insecure to stay patient. They want quick recognition, quick victories, quick praise, but quick victories fade quickly. True dominance is built slowly, silently, consistently until it is unshakable. Understand this. Every time you explain yourself, you hand someone a weapon they can use against you. Every time you reveal your emotions, you give your opponent a blueprint to manipulate you. Every time you argue, defend, or justify, you load yourself into their control. But silence denies them that chance. Silence forces them to fight shadows, and you can never defeat what you cannot see. Control is not about making noise. Control is about removing noise. It is about stripping away distractions. It is about focusing only on what matters and ignoring everything else. When you are silent, you are not wasting time proving yourself. You are building yourself. You are training your body. You are sharpening your mind. You are increasing your skills. You are stacking advantages one after another, while the rest are busy talking about what they plan to do. You do not need to talk about it, because when the time comes, the results will speak louder than anything you could have said. Think about how silence works in battle. The loud enemy rushes in, blindly revealing his position, exposing his intentions. The silent enemy hides in the shadows, watches, studies, and then attacks with precision. The loud enemy depends on fear and intimidation. The silent enemy depends on calculation and patience. The loud enemy burns out quickly. The silent enemy endures until the perfect strike arrives. Who do you think wins in the end? Silence builds control, not just over others, but over yourself. You stop being reactive. You stop letting emotions dictate your choices. You stop wasting energy on meaningless conflicts. You become strategic. You become deliberate. Every action you take has purpose. Every word you speak carries weight, and because of that, people begin to take you seriously. Without ever needing to ask for respect, you command it automatically. That is what makes silence powerful. It is not just the absence of noise. It is the presence of control. But here is the harsh truth. You cannot fake silence. You cannot pretend to be calm when you are shaking inside. You cannot pretend to be detached when you are consumed by insecurity. Silence comes only when you are truly in control of yourself. That is why it is so rare. That is why it is so feared, because true silence is not an act. It is a state of being, a state where your emotions no longer enslave you, a state where you can watch chaos unfold and remain untouched. You want to control everything, then master silence, because silence will give you patience. Patience will give you strategy. Strategy will give you influence. And influence will give you control over every situation. Do not waste your energy trying to convince the world of your worth. Do not waste your breath shouting your power. Let your silence create the mystery. Let your actions create the proof. And let your control spread invisibly until you are the one pulling every string. This is Ayano Koji's reality. Control is not about speaking. Control is not about convincing. Control is not about appearances. It is about restraint. It is about calculation. It is about holding your fire until the exact moment when victory is guaranteed. Stay silent, not because you have nothing to say. Stay silent because you already know the outcome. Stay silent because silence itself is your weapon. And when the time comes, unleash it with precision. And watch as the world realizes, too late, that you were in control all along.